The Independent Health Foundation, NCCC, and the City of Niagara Falls welcomed NBA Hall of Fame basketball player Dominique Wilkins to the Niagara Falls Culinary Institute to talk about diabetes education.
When you're a world-class athlete, we all think we're invincible. We think nothing could ever happen to us. It's not until life slows down and you find out that you're mortal like everybody else. And so when I retired, it was probably a year and a half after I retired, I found out that I was having some problems. My vision was kind of funny. I had to use the restroom every 5 minutes. I had no energy. And I said, this ain't normal. What's going on with my health? And I still ignored it for another couple of months. And I remember one day I just went to the doctor, and I wasn't sick or anything, but I just hadn't been for a checkup. And I remember the doctor taking about 2 hours to come back. I knew something was wrong. It took too long to come back. And I said to myself, what in the world's going on here? Because he did all these tests. And it never have taken that long for a doctor to come back and talk to me. So when he came back, he said, "Hey, Nick, I got good news and bad news." He said, "The good news is you're not dying yet." And I said, "Wait, what does that mean?" And he said, "Don't get alarmed. Bad news is you're diabetic, but now you have to have a lifestyle change right now." And so at that moment, I decided, after getting over the shock of it, because I was totally floored. But after getting over the shock of it, I decided not to let this disease do to me what it did to my father and grandfather, who both died from diabetes. I got 8 brothers and sisters. I'm in better shape than anybody. I'm only in my family with diabetes. Go figure. But it just goes to show that diabetes is hereditary. But I look at diabetes like this. It's just another opponent that you have to compete with. And it made me look at 3 things. It made me look at my diet. It made me look at exercising and, unfortunately, going on medication. And it took those 3 components working together to keep me healthy. And I remember getting on a mission just to work out and getting back to doing some things I used to do. And I lost 34 pounds in 2.5 months. And I said, you know what? If I can commit myself and if I can focus myself to do this, especially after playing all my life and training, anybody can do it. I had a friend who was a prominent lawyer in Atlanta, and he went for a routine checkup, and he never checked out. Didn't even know he was diabetic. These are some of the sad stories that diabetes causes, because a lot of people walking around with diabetes don't even know they have it. And the ones who do know they have it, they try to ignore the problem by ignoring it, and all they're doing is prolonging the inevitable because it's not going anywhere. And it's not like the doctor said here, the great mayor said it, is that when you ignore this, eventually something bad is going to happen. And then sometimes a little too late to make change. Even though I'm healthy, I feel great, better than I've felt in the last 14 years. Diabetes has already wreaked havoc on my body by ignoring it. I had a cataract moved out my left eye, I have a crystal lens. I can see great now distance, that's great. I used to wear glasses. I thought I was getting old. That was my ignorance to the disease. But because the diabetes had already started wreaking havoc on my body, those are some of the things that it took from me. But now, the recognizing or accepting that I'm a diabetic, I'm willing to do the necessary things to keep myself focused and healthy. And I tell you, it made me look at my life a lot differently. It makes me look at my health a lot differently. It makes me look at what I buy a lot differently. Anything over 5-6 grams of sugar when I go to the store, I don't even buy it. People to do is what? Change the diet, exercise. It's easy for us to take a medication. But if you can incorporate all 3, I'm telling you, it's not that difficult. Hardest thing for people to do is take that first step, because they're really afraid of what they don't understand, or they're afraid to step outside of that box. But I'm telling you, at the end of the day, it beats the alternative.
Wilkins worked with culinary students to prepare healthy alternatives to traditional comfort foods.
Our American Regional class and our nutrition class here at the school have been working very hard to take 4 different recipes from southernliving.com, and we kind of took a look at them, and they were pretty healthy when we started, but what we wanted to do was try to make them even more healthy. So what we've done is we've taken the recipe and we broke it down, and we have implemented some different ingredients that you might be familiar with, you might not be familiar with, but we're going to start by going over Creole jambalaya. Okay, we're going to do a healthy option on Creole jambalaya. We're going to do a green bean casserole. We're going to do a low-fat macaroni and cheese, and we're going to do pecan peach cobbler. Okay, they don't sound like they're very healthy, but they actually are. We did a really nice job getting them all together.
Wilkins, known as the Human Highlight Reel, was joined by Niagara Falls Mayor Paul Deister, NCCC President Dr. James Kleizak, and members of the Independent Health Team.
Looking around and looking in particular at the shocking statistics, not just here in the city of Niagara Falls, but in Niagara County and in Western New York in general, for a variety of maladies related to lifestyles and our either success or failure of making healthy choices throughout our lifetime, including choices about what we eat. It resulted in the fact that we have shocking rates of high blood pressure, shocking rates of stroke, heart attack, and yes, shocking rates of diabetes here in the city of Niagara Falls and Niagara County. And although it wasn't necessarily part of what people think is the core mission of the city, we decided that we were going to address it. And so we decided that we were going to set up something called the Mayor's Task Force for a Healthier Niagara Falls, partnering with Niagara Falls Memorial Medical Center and a variety of other partners at P2 Collaborative to reach out into the community and try to get people to take responsibility for their own health, which involves, of course, preventive care, trying to see a primary care physician, making certain that you show up to be tested. And we were finding people out there who would have no idea what their blood sugar was, no idea what their cholesterol level was, and no idea what their blood pressure was, because they'd never been tested. They'd never interacted with the healthcare system unless and until the day came when they found themselves in the midst of a medical emergency. Then they show up at the front door of the emergency room.
When we opened the facility just about a year ago, we knew we had the potential to make an impact on our community beyond these four walls. And today, working with Independent Health and the Independent Health Foundation, we're able to give our students the opportunity to cook alongside a Hall of Fame basketball player. This is a moment I don't think they'll soon forget.
I think a couple of points that I would highlight that Dominique talked about. Diabetes, patients, the look on their face when you tell them they have diabetes sometimes is, they're really, this is devastating, and it doesn't have to be. It's not cancer. It's treatable. It's curable. I've had many patients go from having diabetes to being non-diabetic. It is very much, yes, it can be a hereditary, genetic-based problem, but many people can cure themselves of this problem through lifestyle change, and that resides within them. I'm there to help provide them guidance and information and medications, but really the power to change, the power to really make a significant improvement in your life, it resides within you.
The Independent Health Foundation does work with local restaurants, and we are partnering with the Culinary Institute to provide healthy options. So we're trying to make sustainable changes in the community. We have over 100 restaurants that we work with right now, asking the chefs and the owners to take a look at what you're serving and see if they could be creative and make some small alternatives to their traditional items that really make a big difference.